Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Edible Paper, a podcast by me, Paper Izzy. Today is a sad day, but it's a happy day too because I have a good announcement after the bad announcement. But if you follow me on Instagram or anything like that, this is my last episode of Edible Paper. It's kind of sad, but I decided that it's time to move on to something different. So I will be retooling like my idea for a podcast, and sometime in the next couple months I will be relaunching. I'm really excited about that. um, right now I'm cooking, so if you hear any noises, that's what it is. It's the last episode. 3 people are going to watch it. I don't really care. Basically, the new podcast is probably not going to be that much different than this one. I'm still going to talk about the stuff I want to talk about, but I want to have guests. I don't want to be high while I do it because I actually want to pay attention to what I'm talking about and to know what I'm saying. And also, after my mom died, so I had to take it to a dark place, I was taking a lot of Delta 9 gummies and stuff because it's horrible to be alive, honestly. So I decided that I don't want to have that as like a crutch or an addiction or whatever you call it. I, want to be present in my life. So I'm much more mindful, much more demure about how I take a gummy. And I don't want to do it because, I have to film a podcast or I have to record a podcast. Let me take this gummy, or I feel terrible. Let me take it. It's just take a little nibble, just a little teeny tiny nibble. I'm really trying to limit what I take. So I only take a little bit. Like right now, I'm a little, I don't know. This like, what is the high version of tipsy? Like a teeny tiny bit high, but it's not like anything crazy. So I can like pay attention and think and have thoughts, and that's pretty amazing in my opinion. So this episode is the last episode of Edible Paper. So last year I recorded a podcast episode about my favorite movies and albums and video games of 2023. I want to do that for 2024. And I've had this list for a while. I made it like back in December, and I just kept putting off actually doing the podcast. So if you're wondering, I'm making mashed potatoes and meatballs, like church potluck style, like that, with like the barbecue sauce. I love that shit. All right, so I'm gonna do albums first because it's the longest list, and they're not in any particular order. So don't be offended if your favorite album isn't mentioned or isn't mentioned first, because I really mostly went alphabetical, just looking through the albums that released in 2024. First album I wrote down was Ali X, Girl with No Face. Fabulous album, super gay, super electronic, very synth driven. She produced it all herself. Kind of dark, but also so pop. Ali X is such an incredible, like, pop songwriter, producer. Like, I just love her perspective on things, and so I really just enjoyed that album. Next, Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine. I mean, if you know me, I love Ariana Grande. I have all her CDs. I saw Wicked. I just love Ariana Grande. There was a time in my life when I didn't like her, but oh my god, I love her so much. She's just amazing. So it's a great album. It's heartbreaking, but it's fun, and it's wonderful. I love Ariana Grande. Next is Casey Musgraves' Deeper Well. I have to admit that it did take me a little time to really vibe with the album, but I think it's a great album. I kind of see where she was going. It helped me a lot, like when my mom passed away, so I really like that album, and I'm excited to see whatever she does next. Next is Beyonce's Cowboy Carter. I mean, if I didn't have this on the list, then I would just have to jump off a cliff or something, because it is one of the best albums, period. And one of the best country albums of like the past decade, and it's Beyonce can do no wrong. This is amazing. I'm so excited for Renaissance Part 3. I'm very excited. Next is Taylor Swift, Tortured Poets Department. You can come at me all you want. I know, I'm sorry. I like Taylor Swift, but I liked the album. I thought it was good. Perhaps the anthology should have been a separate release. I feel like it kind of muddies the waters of like what the album is, but love it. I'm so glad to have it. I just love it. It's Taylor Swift. I'm probably gonna always love it. Next is Bring Me the Horizons, Posthuman Next Gen. My husband really likes Bring Me the Horizon, and I actually really like them too. Like it It's not necessarily the type of music I would always go to first, but I do love, of course, there's more pop in the album, and it's just, I feel like I relate to a lot of the songs because, like I said, last year was the worst year of my life, so I relate to a lot of the stuff for it. But it's a nice combination of genres, and it's just so fun and like so relatable and so heartbreaking, and I really vibe with it. Next is Bonnie McKee's Hot City. I love that she released this album because I was so excited back in the day for Bonnie McKee to release her album after American Girl, which, by the way, is one of the best pop songs of all time. You cannot argue with that. If you do, you're just wrong. Like, I don't say people are wrong about too many things, but you're wrong. American Girl is one of the best pop songs of all time. It just is. So I was really excited. I would listen to like the live versions of Slay, and I was just so excited. And then, of course, the album got scrapped by the label, so she pulled a Taylor Swift and just re-recorded and like released the album, and it's so good. I can't believe I was deprived for so many years from it, but it's such a great album, and I'm so happy that we got it. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. Next, I put down Shaboozie's Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going. I really like this album. Another really great country album. His voice is so good and his songwriting is so good, and it's so great. And I love that he dethroned what's his face. I can't even be bothered to remember his name. Morgan Wallen. Ugh. But Shaboozie deserved all the awards at the CMAs or whatever. We just need to make like another country music awards to actually like give awards to like people who are doing country that the regular country people don't like. I don't know how we would do that, but we need to do it. Next is Charlie XCX Brat. Now, if you watched my review, I was not like the biggest fan of the album when it came out. Like, I mean, it's good, but it definitely had to grow on me. And I like the remixes and stuff she came out with. And it's a solid album, and I'm so happy that she kind of like really blew up with this album. I love it a lot, and I'm just glad that she's getting her recognition because I think she's been in the game so long, and she's been such a prolific songwriter and artist, and I'm just so happy to see her get her flowers. Next is Megan Thee Stallion's album, Megan. I really enjoyed it. The name of the album, I think, I don't know, self-titled albums, to me, if it's like not your first release, like a lot of times it just feels kind of basic, and especially with like all like the snake imagery and the snake songs and stuff like that, just to have the album named Megan is kind of, but I support our artistic choice. Great hip-hop album, great album period, genre excluded. It's so fun, and it has some deep moments, and I just love Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, I love her. You can't convince me that she's not amazing, because she is. Next, I put Nothing Nowhere's Hell or High Water. He released 4 albums last year, which I like some of the songs of all of them, but Hell or High Water is just like it for me. Like, it came out around the time that my grandma and my mom died, and so I feel like that's just like an emotional connection to it. But again, like, it's more in like the alt country space, and I just really, I feel like alt country is where it's at. So love the album. Next is Porter Robinson's album Smile, with 2 exclamation points. No, an exclamation point and a smiley face. Sorry, I write in chicken scratch. Great album. It's so much fun. I mean, I love Porter Robinson. Anyways, I heard like his really like, I don't know, really crazy EDM stuff like back in the day, but I didn't know that was him. But I really started liking him when he did that song Everything Goes On for League of Legends, I guess. But I really love that song, and that kind of opened the door to Porter Robinson. I saw him in concert this year, or last year rather. It was so good. The songs are amazing. I love that he like really embraced pop, and he does it so well, and I'm just so excited to see what he does from there. Great album. Next is another obvious one, Sabrina Carpenter's album Short and Sweet, which I know it's going to be like, oh, everyone's talked about Sabrina Carpenter, whatever, but listen, I don't like to be like a hipster. I don't want to be like, well, you know, I liked them before they were cool, but you know what? I liked Sabrina Carpenter before she was cool. I love all her music. I've been a fan since 2016, so I'm not just putting this on the list because I'm like a bandwagon fan. Like, I love her music, and I love her, and it's a great album. So I can't believe we're only 10 minutes into this. Wow. So it's a great album. I love, like, she really kind of leaned into the country sound and also sort of like more like 90s sound, and it's just like interesting mix of sounds, but it makes so much sense together, and it is such a good album. And she's so funny and so beautiful, and I'm so happy that she is like doing so well. It's great to see. Next is Lady Gaga's album Harlequin that she released in tandem with Joker Folie à Deux, which, oh god, I hate to see that it was like the biggest movie flop of last year. That is so sad. But I liked the movie and I liked the album. It's like, you know, her doing some jazz adjacent stuff, and it's just really fun. I actually got it on vinyl from Target the other day. It was on sale probably because of the aforementioned flop, but you know what? I'm happy to have it on vinyl and CD. It's a great album. I love it. Next is a indie artist who I'm a really big fan of. Their name is Kilio. I have their last album, like the actual CD. They also do drag, and they're so talented, and I love their songwriting and their voice and their production. They produce it all by themselves, and it's amazing. So shout out to Kilio. This album is called Anti-Celebrity. You need to go listen to that shit. I'm just telling you, it is such a good record, and I'm so happy to like find independent artists like that are just doing the damn thing, and like they're on a whole nother level, so you just need to check them out. Next is Halsey's The Great Impersonator, which I was actually listening to some this afternoon because I was really trying to get in the headspace of doing the podcast. And that was probably my favorite album of last year, which kind of came out of like left field for me. Like, I love Halsey, I have all her albums, but there's something about The Great Impersonator that is just like on a whole different level of love. And I think a lot of it is because it came out around the time that my mom passed away, and it just kind of was like, I have this thing where it's like sometimes albums that I know like are super special, like they find me at the right time, like when I need it, it's there for me, like Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets, or Joanne, or like any of these albums that came out and they were exactly what I needed at that exact time. And that for me was this album. I needed it, and I'm so glad it exists, and Fantano can go suck a rock because he's still wrong about it. Next is the Wicked soundtrack. I mean, duh, come on. It's so good. My poor husband, I just keep playing it, and like I was super high the other week, and oh my god, I was listening to it, and it's like I could feel like the music, and it was amazing. It's such a good album. It's such a great movie. And speaking of movies, I'm gonna go onto my list. I'm sorry if I missed any albums. There's probably some I did, but these are just the ones I wrote down for this podcast. I mean, 2 people are gonna listen, so who cares? So movies, I guess I saw Lisa Frankenstein, actually. Was a really good movie, and I don't mean to say it like it wouldn't be. The main actress, like her whole vibe reminds me of Chapel Roan, and it's just, it was such a good movie. It was so much fun, and it was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you really need to see it. It was definitely right up my alley. Next, Inside Out 2. I wasn't originally going to write it down, but like I thought about it and I was like, I really liked it. I'm not really big into computer animation, so that's like one thing, but it was a really good movie. I really like the Inside Out movies. They're fun. I wrote down Deadpool and Wolverine. I kind of went back and forth on that one too, but I really don't see many movies. So, whatever. But I just put it down because it was a good time. It was fun. It made me laugh. I enjoyed it. The Deliverance, bitch, come on. If you haven't seen The Deliverance, you need to see it. Glenn Close, oh my god, she's so good in that movie. Didn't much like the ending because it was like super religious, and it's like, okay, homegirl was probably just abusing her kids and said God delivered them. Sorry, I don't know the story. Sorry to offend anybody with that, but that's just how I feel with my own religious trauma. Next is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, I did a whole video on it. Such a good movie. It was so fun, and I hate that they waited 35 years to make it, but it is such a good movie, and I'm so happy that I was alive when the new one came out. It was such a good movie. It was fun. Terrifier 3, probably my favorite movie of the year last year, except for Wicked. Between Terrifier 3 and Wicked, those are like my favorite movies of the year. They're just spectacular. Like, spectacular. Terrifier 3 is like on a whole nother level. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and it's just, each time was just like, honestly, like worse than the time before. Like, 'cause it's like, oh god, it's so gory, it's so gross, it pushes the limits so far out of anything you ever thought possible, and I just really love those movies. So Terrifier 3 is amazing. And then we can go to Wicked. Like, I've reached levels of gay I did not think were possible. I loved Wicked. I knew a few songs from Glee, and that was about it. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo. Oh my god, like, I can't say anything about it that hasn't already been said. It is a spectacular movie, and I'm so happy that it exists. And I reminded myself of Christian Chenoweth earlier when I was saying, like, oh, I'm glad I was alive to see it, because that's what she's been saying about the movie version of Wicked. After that, I put down If. That was another one where I was like, back and forth, but it was a cute movie. I enjoyed it. I liked some of the art styles in it. That was fun. It's kind of existential. It was basically Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but like, I don't know. But it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. The last movie that's on the list is going to be a Hail Mary from me, but not really from me. Y'all know I love this movie. I've already talked about it in here, I think. Joker Folie à Deux. I know it was the biggest movie flop of last year, but I don't care. I thought it was a great movie. It was so much fun. Lady Gaga is amazing and can do no wrong. It was a great film, and if you don't think so, you just didn't get it. Like, I made a whole video about it, but you really just did not get it if you didn't like that movie. I fully believe that. It's my podcast, it's my list, it's going on the list. It was a great movie, and you're just wrong about it. You just didn't get it. All right, to the last little piece of the podcast, the last little segment is video games. A quick note, I've not beaten any of these video games. Oh, no, I beat Princess Peach Showtime. Surprise, that's one of my favorite games of last year. It was a lot of fun. It was a little laggy in places. Like, I could see, like, I don't know if it's like the frame rate or whatever you call it, but it was a little laggy. But I really did enjoy it. I'm excited to see if they make a sequel, that kind of thing. Madame Grape is an icon. She is the moment. Come on now. I love that Peach finally has, like, an adversary for herself, Madame Grape. Oh, I love it. It's so genius. Oh, I love it. I can't wait to see more of Madame Grape. It was a fun game. I really liked it. There's definitely ways it can improve, but I loved it. Basically, like, any movie I saw, any album I really wanted to listen to, and any video game I bought are basically my favorites. There are, times when I'm really excited for something and it is just not good, but that's not happening right at this moment. Next is Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the remake on the Switch. And I'm so happy that it got remade, because I loved that game. I loved it so much, and I hate that the series kind of fizzled out. So hopefully this kind of will resurrect it. Again, I have not yet beat it, but I'm very close. I loved that game. Next is Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. I mean, come on. You knew I was going to put that on this list, because I am a Paper Mario girly, and I will not apologize for it. And I'm so happy that they remade it. I haven't rebeaten it yet, just because I get so busy with stuff. But it's such a great game, and if you haven't played it, you really need to play it. It is so good. And I can't wait to sit down and beat it. Another game that I just got at Christmas, so it wasn't originally on the list, but I added it. Mario and Luigi Brothership is so much fun. I know some people are complaining about it, and maybe I haven't got to the bad parts yet, but I've been playing it for like 10 hours or something, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's one that I'm happy that, like, the series has been resurrected, and I honestly think that it's going in a better direction than it was, because the last few Mario and Luigi games I just did not even bother with, because it just wasn't fun anymore. I don't know what it was about it that wasn't fun, but it wasn't fun. I'm glad that it exists, and it was a lot of fun to play. I just keep saying it's fun, but that's, it's a video game. It's supposed to be fun. So that was my list of my favorite albums and movies and video games of 2024. If you disagree with anything on this list, you can let me know. I hope to do another one of these for this year on my new podcast, which is going to be kind of a throwback to something I used to do back in the day, so I don't know why I'm acting like it's some type of big spoiler, because nobody listens to these things, but I'm really excited to relaunch the podcast and put it in a new direction. I'm also rewatching Glee. That's crazy. It's crazy, but I have really enjoyed doing this iteration of the podcast, and I'm excited to come back bigger and better and just have a lot of fun, and I hope you'll be along for the ride. Thank you for tuning in to the last episode of Edible Paper. I'm your host, Paper Izzy, signing off. Stay tuned for more human-generated art. Bye.